Yasodhanandana Prajananjana Yasodhanandana Prajananjana Jamunatera Vanatahi Jamunatera Vanatahi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radha Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Jaya Sri Radha Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jai Listen Prabhupada Mahamsa, Parivrada Kacharya. Astotra Satat Sissiman, the divine grace is Kampanachaya, Sila Abhacharana Vena Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Astotra Satat Sissiman, the divine grace, Sila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavena Ki Jai. Namacharya Sila Haridasa Kora Ki Jai. Prem Si Kahau Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadhara Si Vasadi Si Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Si Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Si Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Simaya Panavadip Dham Ki Jai. Si Jagannathpura Dham Ki Jai. Gangamai Yamunamai Ki Jai. Samata Tulsi Devi Bhakta Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vena Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Haribol. All glories to the Sama devotees, all glories to the Sama devotees, all glories to the Sama devotees. All glories to Sisi Gauranga Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chanda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Ādi-līlā, chapter 2, text 90. Tajye sabhavattarera Krishna sekarana. Ara ekasloba suna kovya kya kandana. Teche sabhavattarera Avatirira Krishna sekarana. Araika sloka suna kavya kya kandana. Teche sabha avatirira Krishna sekarana. Ara ekaslika suna kavya kya kandana. Can someone try? Anyone else, males? Ladies? Anyone else, ladies? Anyone else, ladies? Okay. We wanted that, there's a balance, 50-50 if possible, ladies and gentlemen. So, word for word translation and translation and purport by His Divine Grace, His Confoundatories, A.C. Bhakti Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you. Teche. In a similar way, Sabha, all, Avatarera of the incarnations, Krishna, Lord Krishna, say, He, Karana, the cause, Ara, another, Eka, one, Shloka, verse, Suna. Please hear. Ku, Vyakya, fallacious explanations. Kandana, refuting. Translation. Krishna, in the same way, is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please, hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. Please kindly respond and repeat. Krishna, in the same way, is the cause of all causes and all incarnations. Please hear another verse to defeat all misinterpretations. So that's the part here. We go to text 91 to 92. Atra sago vishagascha stanam. You have it there? You have it online? Okay. Atra sago vishagascha stanam posanam uttayaha manvantare sanukata nirodha muktyasraya dasamasya visudhyatam navanam iha lakshanam vanayanti mahatmanaha Shrutena tena chanjasa. So translation, here in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. The creation of the ingredients of the cosmos, the creations of Brahma, the maintenance of the creation, for special favor given to the faithful, impetuses for activity, prescribed duties for law-abiding men and women also, a description of the incarnations of the Lord, 8, the winding up of the creation, 9, liberation from gross and subtle material existence, and 10, the ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 10th item is the shelter of all the others. To distinguish this ultimate shelter from the other 9 subjects, the Maharajas have described these 9 directly or indirectly, through prayers or direct explanations. Please kindly respond and repeat. Here in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10 subjects are described. 1, the creation of the ingredients of the cosmos. 2, the creations of Brahma. 3, the maintenance of the creation. 4, special favor given to the faithful. 5, impetuses for activity. 6, prescribed duties for law-abiding men. 7, a description of the incarnations of the Lord. 8, the winding up of the creation. 9, liberation from gross and subtle material existence. And 10, the ultimate shelter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The 10th item is the shelter of all the others. To distinguish this ultimate shelter from the other 9 subjects, the Maharajas have described these 9, directly or indirectly, through prayers or direct explanations. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, chapter 10, text 1, lists the 10 subject matters dealt with in the text of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of these, the 10th is the substance, and the other 9 are categories derived from the substance. These 10 subjects are listed as follows. 1. Sarga, the first creation by Vishnu, the bringing forth of the 5 gross material elements, the 5 objects of sense perception, the 10 senses, the mind, intelligence, false ego, and the total material energy or universal form. 2. Visarga, the secondary creation or the work of Brahma in producing the moving and unmoving bodies in the universe, Brahmanda. 3. Sthana, the maintenance of the universe by the personality of God at Vishnu. Vishnu's function is more important and his glory greater than Brahma's and Lord Shiva's. For although Brahma is the creator and Lord Vishnu the destroyer, Vishnu is the maintainer. 4. Pushana, special care and protection for devotees by the Lord. As a king maintains his kingdom and subjects, but nevertheless gives special attention to the members of his family, so the personality of God gives special care to his devotees who are souls completely surrendered to him. 5. Uti, the urge for creation or initiative power that is the cause of all inventions, according to the necessities of time, space, and objects. Six, Manvantara, the regulative principles for living beings who desire to achieve perfection in human life. The rules of Manu are described in the Manu Samhita, guide the way to such perfection. Istanukata, scriptural information regarding the personality of Godhead, his incarnations on earth, and the activities of his devotees. Scriptures dealing with these subjects are essential for progressive human life. 8. Nirodha, the winding up of all energies employed in creation. Such potencies are emanations from the personality of Godhead, who eternally lies in the Karna ocean. The cosmic creations manifested with his breath are again dissolved in due course. Mukti, liberation of the conditioned souls engaged by the gross and subtle coverings of body and mind. When freed from all material affection, the soul giving up the gross and subtle material bodies can attain the spiritual sky in the original spiritual body and engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord in Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka. When the soul is situated in his original constitutional position of existence, he is said to be liberated. It is possible to engage in transcendental loving service to the Lord and become Jiva Mukta, a liberated soul, even while in the material body. 10. Ashraya, the transcendence, the summum bonum, from whom everything emanates, upon whom everything rests, and in whom everything merges after annihilation. He is the source and subject and support of all. The Ashraya is also called the Supreme Brahman, as in the Vedanta Sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, Janmadi Asyataha. Srimad Bhagavatam especially describes this Supreme Brahman as the Ashraya. Sri Krishna is this Ashraya. And therefore, the greatest necessity of life is to study the science of Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam accepts Sri Krishna as the shelter of all manifestations because Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the ultimate source of everything, the supreme goal of all. Two different principles are to be considered herein, namely Ashraya, the object providing shelter, and Ashrita, the dependents requiring shelter. The Ashrita exists under the original principle, the Ashraya. The first 9 categories described in the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam from creation to liberation, including the Purusa avatars, the incarnations, the marginal energy or living entities, and the external energy, our material world, are all Ashrita. The prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam, however, aim for the Ashraya Tattva, the Supreme Personality of God as Sri Krishna. The great souls expert in describing Srimad Bhagavatam have very diligently delineated the other 9 categories, sometimes by direct narrations, and sometimes by indirect narrations such as stories. The real purpose of doing this is to know perfectly the absolute transcendence Sri Krishna for the entire creation, both material and spiritual, rests on the body of Sri Krishna. Omagyanatimirandasya gunajana salakaya saksura militam jena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So Chaitanya Manovistam Safetam Jina Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadatistva Padantikam Vandiham Si Gurun Si Yuttapada Kamalam Si Gurun Vaishnavancha Si Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajiva Sadveta Sarvadhuta Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Si Radha Krishna Pada Saha Ganalalita Vishakam Vitanscha. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu Dinabhan Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosati Tapta Kanchana Gurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Paramam Haripi Anchakalpatari Vyacha Kripasunam Vyayavacha Paditanam Padanam Vaishnavim Pandisi Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodata Guradaya Puspavanto Chita Chandatam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Sri Vasudeva Sri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pisaya Bhutale Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasatya Disatari. So, what's the clock here? Okay. So welcome everyone to this segment of the morning programs. The Caitanya-caritāmṛta class, and it's a process of sharing. It's not that the person who is requested to do this service to lead or to coordinate the discussion is better than anyone else. It's a matter of service. If one has to do some service, it doesn't mean that he is the best. I mean, it's like when you become the president of the United States, it doesn't mean that you are the best administrator or the best leader in society. And therefore, we have to understand that it's a process of sharing and caring. I may ask questions along the way as we deliberate. And if I don't ask, maybe at the end, we will also request or suggest if someone has some input or some comments we can make. So here, this chapter is basically establishing the principle or the ideology that Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, is Krishna himself. In fact, Narada Muni, when Krishna was on the planet, Narada Muni had traveled practically the whole 3 worlds. And then he found that he couldn't really find a place. Of all the places he's been to, he never found any place where Krishna's names were being glorified. So he headed on to Dwarka to visit Krishna, and Lord Krishna observed that Narada Muni was a little bit morose. So he said, "Hey Narada, what is going on? What's the problem? What's up?" Narada said, "I've traveled all over the places and I never found any place where your name is being glorified. So I'm despondent about this." And so Krishna tried to placate Narada by telling him that, all right, if this is the situation, you don't worry, I'll take responsibility myself. Responsibility. So here there was a complaint. Lord made some complaint, or the devotee is feeling is feeling something, is feeling unease. So he meets his authority and says, this is my uneasiness. And then the authority says, don't worry, I'm going to ease out your uneasiness. So Lord Krishna said, you don't worry, I will take the responsibility. I will come as a devotee and inaugurate the Sankirtan movement so that people will ginger up. I'll ginger up people to take up the process of glorifications of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In fact, this is the bubble. This is the fulcrum. This is the bedrock of the external appearance of, external reasons of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Lord Chaitanya has internal reasons for his appearance and external reasons. But this is the fundamental principle behind the external reasons, glorifications of Lord Krishna's holiness. And when Lord Chaitanya manifested, or when Lord Chaitanya appeared, what did he do? He requested, in fact, Lord Chaitanya inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. But what is the Sankirtan movement all about? Congregational chanting, coming together to chant. Why? Lord Chaitanya could have said, hey, look, everybody, be my devotees, be Krishna's devotee, lock up yourselves in your rooms and do meditation, chant 108 times, chant, 300,000 names of Lord Krishna. No, he didn't say so. He said, hey, come together. Let's do it together. Our great devotee does here in New York. He leads this Saranam party every day. So this is Lord Chaitanya's movement. He came to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement. But let's understand, let's be clear. That was not a principle that was simply religious. It was purely scientific. And it's based, Lord Chaitanya found this movement on the principle of synergy. Synergy is a scientific model which basically brings to bear that when two or more people come together to do a particular thing, the result is always greater than individuals doing that same thing individually and bringing the results together. You get the point? If, say, 10 people do a particular thing individually, and they bring those results together, that result, the cumulative result, will always be less than if those 10 people come together to do that same thing together. And that is why the stress is on unity, collective effort, because it yields higher performance, higher productivity, higher results, higher quality. So Lord Chaitanya founded this movement based on science, okay? Based on the principle of synergy, getting people together to do something, to chant Krishna's names, is more productive, it's more result-oriented, it's more purifying than individuals having to do that same thing by themselves, separately. Because if you're by yourself chanting, say you lock yourself in your room chanting, it's so easy to fall asleep. It's so easy for the mind to be distracted. Therefore, this is so important for us as a foundational understanding of the movement that we belong to. And so here in this couple of texts, this text 91 to 92 is a direct quotation from the Srimad Bhagavatam. These two texts are giving us insight about the 10 principles, the subject matters of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, if we really want to become preachers, we have to study Prabhupada's books. Even when Lord Chaitanya was on the planet, he was preaching and making references to the Srimad Bhagavatam. He was not just speaking his own stuff. He was making, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he was making references. References, they are so important. And Prabhupada in his writings, look at the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita, purpose of the Bhagavatam, Caitanya-caritāmṛta, all of Prabhupada's books, he always makes references. So even Lord Chaitanya, he made references to the Bhagavatam. When you read the Caitanya-caritāmṛta and there is this block quote, you know it's from somewhere. And so here it is mentioned that these texts are from Canto 2 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10, text 1. And what is this text all about? It's giving us, it's providing some information, some culture of knowledge that we need to be able to be aware of, because we live in an environment. The cosmos is an environment, and this whole world, where is it coming from? The scientists, they told us something else. The Vedanta Sutta, Vedanta Sutta tell us something else. But what is the most authentic thing? If someone doesn't know, if a child doesn't know their father, should he go into the streets to conduct a research? With every man he sees, hey, are you my father? Hey, are you my father? No. He goes to ask the mother, hey, Mama, who is my father? It's the mother who will tell the child who the father is. Similarly, the Vedic literatures, they provide us with information about our source, where we're coming from, the source of this universe, and how to utilize the content of this universe for our spiritual perfection. I mean, it's like you buy any electronic gasket, it comes with a manual. The Vedic literatures are the manual. They provide us with information on how to live in this material world, how to live in this environment, how to channel our energies productively for devotional perfection. So the Bhagavatam gives us the basic principle, Ashraya Ashrita, the ultimate shelter and the dependence. I mean, it's like we have in science, in scientific research, we have the variable and the main substance. So the living entities, we are marginal, we are part of the marginal, we are marginal energies. We are marginal in the sense that we can fall prey to the illusory energy, or we can surrender unto the Supreme Lord and be protected. And if we do surrender to the Ashraya, we take proper shelter of the Ashraya, I will be protected. This is precisely what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, if we surrender unto him, Sarva Dharma Parityajam, Mamekam, only me. Mamekam Saranamrita. So the tendency is to be apprehensive also. Am I sure that this person is going to protect me? Krishna said, don't fear. I'll protect you. And then elsewhere, Krishna said, as you surrender unto me, I reciprocate accordingly. And so the Ashraya is very important for us, because the whole culture of devotion, or loving devotion, is about the Ashraya, the ultimate shelter, Lord Krishna. Krishna, he is the source of all incarnations. Ultimately, Krishna is the source of this whole creation. He mentioned also in the Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual world and the material worlds, they are all emanations from him. So if we understand this fundamental principle, then we can grasp the idea that Krishna is the only Purusa, and we are Prakriti. And therefore, what is our role in this material world. In these material bodies that we have acquired, what do we do with our bodies? Do we take shelter of the Bahiranga Shakti, or we take shelter of Antaranga? The suggestion is, by the Acharya, is that we take shelter of the Ashraya. And then we can be properly protected. And it entails a lot of details. And in Kali Yuga, the good news is that in Kali Yuga, you don't need so much of even studying the scriptures. All that we need is to identify that we are marginal. In other words, we can be influenced by the illusory energy, and therefore we should take proper shelter of Ashraya, the ultimate shelter, because then we will be protected from the onslaught of the illusory energy. So we have here the themes, elements of the material creation, perfectly delineated here. Sarga, Visarga, Sthana, Pushana, Uti. 10 items. But the emphasis is on Ashraya, because all the other 9 items are dependent on Ashraya. I mean, it's like you have a rope that threads pearls. The pearls are hanging. They form a nice piece. But what is keeping them together is a rope that is threaded through all of them. So, we come to devotional service, and the understanding is that it is the Krishna factor that brings us together. I mean, this brings to mind the situation that was in South Africa during the apartheid regime. During the apartheid regime, there was so much of discrimination. And when I went to South Africa for the first time, devotees were telling me what was transpiring during the apartheid regime. But even at that time, there was so much of intense discrimination. Right at the Hare Krishna temple, all the people who are fighting outside, they live together very happily, dancing and eating together. So when the government officials came in, Bhakti Swami, he took them on the tour, and he showed them, this is a Dutch, this is a black African, this is an Indian, African Indian. They are all living together happily. You are fighting outside, killing yourselves. The same people. So what is the unifying force? Krishna factor, the Ashraya. When people take shelter of Lord Krishna and identify or recognize that Krishna is the only enjoyer. Again, Krishna mentioned in the Gita, when people come to recognize that he is the only enjoyer and walk and dovetail all of their talents in his service, then automatically there will be peace. There will be no question of false proprietorship. But if the Krishna factor is undermined, if people don't understand, people don't recognize that Krishna, to Bhagavan Swayam, we have a problem. No matter how we are very opulent in resources, there are bound to be complications. There are bound to be troubles. There are bound to be conflicts. There are bound to be wars. And therefore, scrutinizingly studying the scriptures. Rupa Goswami says he scrutinizingly studies the Vedic literature, especially the written text that are meant for elevating the jiva to purified consciousness. So we have to scrutinize and study the Vedic literature. I've been traveling around, and in most cases, devotees don't read Prabhupada's books. They're too busy. So if we don't read the books, how are we going to impact positively on society with this knowledge? If you are a book distributor and someone asks you, what is the content of this book? You should be able to tell the person. You should be able to give a summary of the content of that book. In fact, when we join, before you go out to be able to distribute books, in fact, we are forced to read every morning for 1 hour during the morning hours before Guru Puja. 1 hour, everybody will sit down in the temple room and read. Because without the reading, how are we to understand what Prabhupada has written, the commentaries, the wonderful commentaries of Srila Prabhupada, the wonderful text of the Bhagavatam, the wonderful text of the Caitanya-caritāmṛta? We can say we are too busy with services. Because according to Krishna himself, in his discussions with Lakshmiji in the Gita Mahatmya, Krishna said, the Bhagavad Gita is not different from him. In other words, by reading even the Bhagavad Gita, we are literally performing puja to Lord Krishna. If I ask how many of you read every day? It might be difficult to get half of the people here reading every day. But the home I was staying, as I came back from the Caribbean, I went for a visit to the Caribbean for 1 month, and it's amazing because in some of these places that I visited, the Attorney General of the country is an initiated devotee. Oh yeah. And she's a woman, it's a female. Okay. Okay. So what she does is just all the international dignitaries that she encounters, she meets, she gives gifts. But what? Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Prabhupada wanted us to change the world by touching those at the top. Because one person, one top-notcher who is Krishna conscious can affect so many millions of people. Even Lord Krishna mentions in the Gita that whatever a great man does, the common man will follow. And whatever standard he or she sets, the whole world will pursue. And so our system is based on spiritual or devotional knowledge acquisition and to practice what we have heard from Prabhupada's books. If we are practicing, then we become practitioners of Krishna consciousness. And so we have to take into consideration that Lord Chaitanya had come himself. Lord Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish this Sankirtan movement. And we are part of this Sankirtan movement. Golokera Prema and Harinam Sankirtan. So this is not a movement that was founded by some mundane person. Lord Chaitanya inaugurated this movement. And so nobody here can destroy it. And therefore it is important for us to see how we are taking great advantage by going into the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. We should read Srila Prabhupada's books. They are very, very transformative. Read, not only read, but practice what? If even you practice one line your life will be sublime. And so, it's a lot of detailed information in this very purport regarding the creation, maintenance, destruction, elements of creation. But we need to read the books. If you simply sit down and hear the class and then you leave, you may not remember everything. So we should have a schedule. Our daily schedule should also include having some time, even when it's just 30 minutes, to read Prabhupada's book. We are in this moment because of the effect of Prabhupada's books. We have to sustain that legacy. If we want the movement to grow, we need to spread the mission of Srila Prabhupada. We need to further the mission of Prabhupada. But we can't further the mission of Prabhupada if we don't know the content, if we don't have the time to study the content of his books. What's the time now? All right. So, here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, two subjects are described. And those two subjects, we mentioned that, to distinguish ultimately, is to distinguish the shelter from the Ashrita. That is Ashraya and Ashrita. We belong to the Ashrita. We're dependent. And that is independent personality of Godhead. We are dependent on him. Everyone in this world is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, either directly or indirectly. And we know because we are now exposed to this truth. And therefore, we should appreciate that and be practical with our lives. Hanging out in a devotional community for 20 years, 40 years is a good thing. But life is not measured by years, but by accomplishment, by devotional accomplishment, devotional perfection. This is one of the foundations of devotional culture that we should imbibe in our fingertips. Taking shelter of Lord Krishna is the watchword. Any comments or questions? Yes. Can it come closer that I can hear? Okay, that's a microphone.
Maharaja, I want to ask, one question you said about chanting. I have some doubts about one statement that you made, that if a person sit down in a room by himself to chant, that he will fall asleep. I have some doubts about this.
Okay.
Because this has not been my own experience, but what I do believe is somebody is probably not interested in something, and they are doing it, they may fall asleep, but I have some doubts that whether or not if
Yeah.
in the room that we will fall asleep by it, and you make a comment or clarification in that statement.
Okay, thank you. The general, the statement is not a quantitative research statement, but it's a qualitative statement. A quantitative research statement is something that you use specific designs in evaluating the validity of your assertion. Now, in most of the Vedic assertions are simply not quantitative statements. And from observations, if you find, I've been hanging out in the Hare Krishna movement. I've been living in the temple for 40 years as a brahmachari. 40 years. And I've seen how Sometimes even we are sitting down there together and someone is falling asleep. And the way we help each other, someone is falling asleep, we don't go and chastise the person. Hey, you're a bomb, you're sleeping? No. We go and tap the person. They know that they might be dozing. We have material bodies. We are subject to frailties. We have so many deficiencies. So yes, someone might sit down, and there are people who sit down to chant. I know one Swami, he sits down to chant for 12 hours. He sits down to chant for 12 hours. Not getting up, sit down to chant for 12 hours. I've also seen a number of people who can sit more than 2 hours to chant. They feel dozy. So individuals might be different. So what I'm trying to say is that it is not a quantitative assertion. It is a qualitative assertion, implying that someone may be so advanced, someone may be so strong spiritually, someone may be so strong physically that they don't fall asleep when they sit down to chant for 12 hours. And somebody else with a frail body may not be able to chant by themselves if they are not in the midst of other people for a long time. Tendency is to be carried away by the influence of the body. So yes, somebody may be able to chant on their own, but the underlying principle that Lord Chaitanya wanted us to come together to perform this Sankirtan movement is that coming together is based on the principle of synergy, which is a scientific principle, scientific model. So we are encouraged to come together for satsang, sangha. Because when we come together, there's a lot of subtle interactions that goes on than the physical perceptions. Yeah. Does it make some sense, Mituna?
I still believe that somebody would fall asleep if they're really not interested in something. To me, that's the underlying factor. If I'm doing something, but I'm not really interested in it, then I become bored and then I fall asleep. If I'm doing something that I have some interest in, that I will stay awake and I will do it. But that's just my own experience.
That's good. I mean, this is called hermeneutics. Hermeneutics means lived experience. Someone, Mr. A's lived experience may be different from Mr. B's lived experience. And a belief system, in science, we have a conception. We also we believe, I'm talking as a management scientist, that we also have the concept of belief. We believe in concepts and constructs, but the concept and construct, the belief system and the concept and the construct has to be backed up with a scientific validation. Then it becomes a universally accepted principle. Otherwise, my lived experience, I may come tomorrow and tell the devotees that, Krishna told me this last night. And so, that might be my lived experience. But even in the Vaishnava system, we're not encouraged to have this type of, lived experiences You've seen Krishna. We don't hear people, we don't hear acharyas telling the congregation that, Krishna just spoke to me yesterday, and Krishna did this. So yes, the lived experiences are completely different from individuals. Like I mentioned, someone may have a particular type of strength, that a particular type of interest in a particular subject matter, and may not fall asleep. But someone else may even have an interest, and then the body is weak. Maybe they didn't sleep sufficiently last night. And despite his interest, the body, it becomes overwhelmed by that a very sleep energy. So yeah, individuals are different, and we can't rule out the differences in individualities. So that is always it's a valid point. Yes, what's the question?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj.
What about?
Thank you for the wonderful class that's listening online. I'm going to ask a question. You're discussing about the importance versus performance of Caitanya-caritāmṛta and how that actually brings everybody together. And then also you discussed the importance of studying Srila Prabhupada's books and the importance of having these things as synonymous activities. I was wondering if maybe you could elaborate on the importance of kind of this external and internal movement that are functioning simultaneously in Mahaprabhu's mission. If maybe you could elaborate on that a little more to inspire us to dive, because here we're doing a lot of external preaching. But maybe if you have some more words for us to dive deeper in our sadhana, at least for myself, dive deeper into my sadhana, so my external preaching can be better.
Oh, well, thank you. What's the time there now? I'm sort of time conscious. This is New York. People are busy, right? So, this might be the last question. So, for us to become very sustainable, potent preachers, we have to take care of ourselves first. Lord Chaitanya, his external reason for appearance was to spread this mission of Lord Krishna, or Lord Chaitanya himself. But eternally, he had appeared to relish the mellows of conjugal love. So, if you read the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, it gives you that insightful understanding. And individually, we have to understand that the inner purity, Krishna Shakti Vinana He Tara Pravatana, if we are not empowered by Lord Krishna, we can't really spread the vision of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we need to be empowered. We need to be empowered. How do we become empowered? Executing the orders of Srila Prabhupada, executing the orders of our spiritual master. So, how does that work in a system where we preach? So I'll give you an example. Now, one time when Krishna was with his cowherd boys in the groups, and Krishna just called on Subal one time, and he said, "Hey Subal, go and bring Radharani right now." And that was like asking, a hen to pass stool without water. And they pass urine and stool together. So if you're asking a hen to pass stool without water, that is that is impossible. So Krishna asked him, Subal, to go and bring Radharani. Even after knowing that Radharani is under tight security by the mother-in-law and the sister-in-law. It's like asking a chicken to pass stool without urine. But Subal did not question Krishna. Hey, Bayasa. Because sometimes Subal addresses Krishna as Bayasa, Buddhi. Hey, Buddhi, Bayasa. What are you talking about? You know damn well that that is not possible. Are you asking me to do this? No, he didn't raise such an issue. He had full faith in Krishna's words. So he just left. How he was to execute that, he didn't even know. But as he was proceeding on, Krishna empowered him. Krishna gave him the inspiration. What to do, how to execute that order. Because he's gone ahead. It's like someone taking a risk to execute the orders of the spiritual master. So if you want to be successful, take the risk of executing Prabhupada's orders. Take the risk of executing Lord Chaitanya's orders. Take the risk of executing your guru's instruction. And Subal went to Yawat. She went to Radharani's home. And the mother-in-law was actually sitting at the gate. But then he got inspired from Lord Krishna in the heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Redi Se Arjuna Tistati. Subal generated an innovative idea. He told him, Radharani's in-law, hey, one of my cows strayed away. Might be in your barn. Can you allow me to check? And, this lady, she recognized Subal as one of Krishna's friends. So she warned him, hey, just go there and check and come out as quickly as possible. So Subal had great access, so he went straight to the barn, picked one of the calves, and he quickly went to Radharani's chambers. So he went there and delivered the message to Radharani. All the gopis, Radharani's friends, they were all shocked how he gained entrance into their compound. So he told Radharani, Krishna wants you right now. So Radharani said, how is that possible? Tell me how that could be realized. So Subal again, see, Krishna has given him the innovative inspiration. Subal again generated the idea. He said, look, you take my dhoti, give me a sari. Let's exchange dresses, and you carry this calf on your chest. Put on my dhoti, carry this calf on your chest, put it on your chest, so that your breast will be covered. Your mother-in-law will not know. He would think this is the guy who entered here. That's exactly what Radharani did. And she was able to go and meet Krishna. So, Prabhupada also got instruction, very difficult instruction from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The very first time of their meeting, Bhaktisiddhanta instructed him, his guru instructed him what he needs to do with his life. Whenever you have money, print books, go to the West, preach in English, spread the message of Krishna consciousness to the Westerners. A mission Prabhupada waited for about 10 years before he was able to accomplish it. See, these days, in most cases, you'll find people who take initiation, and that is the end of the connection with the Guru. Mission accomplished, but it is actually initiative, the beginning of an initiative. But for some people, they say, mission accomplished, I've gotten the initiation. I've achieved my goal. So, if we want to sustain the flavor, the spiritual flavor of our devotional connection with Krishna, we want to sustain the enthusiasm we have in Krishna consciousness, we should endeavor to follow the instructions of our spiritual master. and instruction may be difficult. Again, instruction may be difficult. But that is the juice of devotional culture. You don't necessarily have to get easy instructions. But if you execute it, that's your perfection. And that is the perfection of your Sankirtan. So yeah, we should reflect, we should think, what did my spiritual master tell me to do with my life? Yet that is where we can meet a crossroad in devotional life. If we don't take cognizance of the instructions of the spiritual master as the be-all and end-all. So yeah, anything we're doing, if we reflect on that, it will help to facilitate an expedited progress, expedited, sustainable progress in our devotional life. Got it? So Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay.